My name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today, hi, my name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to talk about what Ramsipele did to Rebaloyi's so-called 10 weeks cross-examination with IQ's number 2, Bongani Ndanzi. And I'm going to show you how Ramsipele destroyed everything in a space of 2.5 hours. Exactly 2.5 hours, yes, sir. Let me sit well. Let me sit well because what the heck? What the hell? Now, first things first. First things first. Guys, please make sure if you're not subscribed on this channel, subscribe, please. If you know people that are not subscribed but are watching, kindly beg them to watch until the end, to also subscribe. Like, share, comment, do all the shandy because the channel needs to grow, okay? The channel needs to grow. And please don't be shy with our super thanks. Come on now. Don't be shy. Don't be stingy with our super thanks. Show up, show off, and do the things. Now, what happened in that courtroom of Judge Rata on Friday is something, on Thursday, is something, no, I don't know how to explain this, but let me try. Let me try it because I spoke about the evidence of Capitec in the previous video that Ramsipele dealt with and exposed the evidence of the state. Now, we are going to talk about Mjiako. I think we will do 2 videos when it comes to Mjiako because Ramza did not play. Ramza was not here to play with nobody's child. And akadlali son, akadlali. So, let me break down clearly first the legal plus the narrative. Then I'll cover all the other situations that happen when it comes to this particular part. Firstly, this moment, exactly, I'm going to talk about exactly what this moment exposed in court, the Mjiako appearance problem. That is a big deal, okay? And it's a very serious legal question that can not just jeopardize, but destroy the so-called narrative of the state, okay? The entire case, actually, not even just the narrative, the entire case can be destroyed. It can be left with nothing. Now, because in South African law, a legal representative must be mandated by the accused person. That mandate must be clear and voluntarily. Undanzi is saying, in fact, since they first appeared in this courtroom of judgment, Danzi has been saying, I do not know Mjiako. He even further said on last Thursday, Uguti, even if he were to come here and you put him somewhere with other people, I wouldn't know which one is Mjiako there. I don't know Mjiako. That is how far he took it, guys. And that, my dear, Aramas, it speaks volumes, Gesan. Now, here is the issue here in this situation. Ndanzi is in isolation, right? Abokininda took him, Bambeka in isolation. He is not physically present whereas appearances are court in most of the time. Yet, Bongani Ndanzi is already represented in court by someone he doesn't know, by someone being forced down his throat and being told that that's your lawyer. That creates a control gap if the accused is not present, not is who is giving those instructions. Because I will not be able to point out and say this is Mjiako. Now, the second thing, the 48-hour rule, a red flag. Yabona keleyana. Yabona keleyana into. I don't know how we can explain it to people. Because Undanzi, the first time he went to court and appeared was the 13th of July, almost a month after his arrest. That was the first time he actually went to court and appeared himself. Even though it was short. Now, this is critical. Under South African law, an arrested person must be brought before court within 48 hours. But in this situation, it highlights that he does not appear within 48 hours, and that window is missed. And that opens the door to unlawful detention arguments, procedural prejudice, pressure leading to alleged confessions. Now, this connects directly to later issues involving the Brigadier Bongani Gininda, and the investigation timeline. Now, third point, the ammunition case timing strategy. If you see that, you can't unsee it. Now, this is where it gets strategic from Gininda's side. The sequence. Firstly, they arrest Bongani Gininda on the 16th of June in the evening. Secondly, alleged assault or interrogation happens between Bongani and Mabena. Thirdly, return to Rustenburg, discover the ammunition. Discovery of the ammunition. That time they were there. They did not find it. They did not check it. They did not search. Why now? Where is it coming from? Fourthly, new charges introduced. Fifth, court appearance happens under this new case first, not the one that he was arrested for. You would remember that they said they arrested him initially for Nongoma case. Let me tell you something. He has never appeared in court for the Nongoma case. There is no charge sheet, no indictment under his name for the Nongoma case. Okay. Now, that creates a legal pivot point. The state controls the first court narrative. Instead of murder case scrutiny, you get ammunition case, lower threshold, easier procedural movement. Be on the watch out. Point number 4, Mjiako's bail postponement move. This is not a small issue. This is big. He says, we want to apply for bail, but there are discussions within the investigating officer, possible new charges. That is Mjiako selling his client. That line is dangerous because it suggests coordination between defense and investigating officer. Awareness of incoming charges before formal disclosure. Red, I think this is orange, but the red don't Now, all of that raises what was the accused being dealt with here. What was Bongani dealing with here? Also, was the accused fully informed of all of these things? Was he aware of all of this situation? Or was the process being shaped externally without his knowledge? Now, point number 5, the excused early moment. Okay. Now, this is something very subtle but powerful. Sorry, Mjiako asked to be excused immediately after postponement. From a courtroom optics perspective, it looks rushed, it looks transactional, it avoids deeper engagement. That's not illegal on its own, but in this context, it feeds the narrative of pre-arranged procedural flow. Noba Mjiako bangathetha bathini, but Mjiako, okay, Mjiako, we have never heard him speak, but we've heard Ubaloyi speak. Whatever they may say, but something is very off ngalo Mjiako. I'm still coming back with more details. Mjiako, we still need the explanation from him. How can Mjiako appear in court before Bongani bese court? How can he appear in court before Bongani is there? It doesn't make sense, Leon Dole, and it never will. Also, State City Bongani was processed and questioned and voluntarily confessed, but Untanzi says no, he was beaten, pressured, and broken down. Now, here is where things get uncomfortable because instead of going to court for the murder case, suddenly there's new charge ammunition. And yonke lento ayenzi sense, guys. Ayenzi sense. And yonke lento yenza uquestione yonke into, uquestione uGininda, uquestione uMogale, uquestione uBaloyi, uquestione even Mjiako himself. You want to know, who is this Mjiako? especially when Dancy says, nah, I can't even pinpoint him. I don't know that man. I do not know him because when I saw this person that claimed to be Mjiyako, he was wearing a mask and sunglasses the entire time. And guess what? It was winter. Why was he hiding himself from his client? Why was Mjiyako hiding himself from his client? Hmm? And better, not even better, worse, Mjiyako doesn't speak to Dancy. In these appearances, the only time we saw him speaking to Dancy was in Boxburg on the 27th of October 2020. But from July, all these appearances, Mdansi had no conversation with Mjiyako. Yet Mdansi is expected to accept that Mjiyako was his lawyer. Jenny, make it make sense. How much okay, Mdansi asks questions Mjiyako is unable to answer. Who sent you here? Who paid you? He says, your sister, which sister? Show me the number. He doesn't show it. Do you see why Mjiyako is problematic? Do you see why Mjiyako is questionable? Anyway, I want us to talk further on another video. I don't want to make this one very long, but I'll do another video going deeper in this issue of Mjiyako. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Do you think Mjiyako was forced down Dance's throat, or do you think Mjiyako is known by Dance? What are your thoughts? I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.